What's up, what's up? This is DP with TRPT COD, TRPT Change of Direction, episode 12. I'm here with my boy Z, my boy CP. As you see, we decked out in it. Man, I got my TRPT. My boy got his fitness plus marketing equals action. And then my boy CP got his Talk to Me Nice. So this is a TRPT COD, podcast, but this is really a collaboration podcast that this won't be the last one that we're doing, so I'm glad that y'all are tuned in. Make sure you share, like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. But we're about to bring some real stuff to you today. First thing we want to talk about is our first topic is a rooted foundation. So let's talk about having strong circles and what that looks like for me, UCP, UZ, and how we form those strong circles and what it took for us to kind of get there. So I'll let you kind of start it off, CP, and what got you where you at with your circle?
Man, circle is everything for me. First and foremost, I would say it starts at home. We hear that all the time. We send our kids out. We personally learn things from place of employment, from school and all that. But it starts at home, man. So my first circle was my immediate family. It was my father. My father was in the military. Y'all know what that life is like. It's all over. It's structured, man. And
but that's a good thing that you said that. So with your pops being in the military, what branch was he in? Navy, and also, yesterday being Veterans Day, tell my man Happy Veterans Day. But with that's a good thing. So did y'all move around a lot?
Man, all my life, man. So I tell people I'm originally from Texas, but I've lived all over, man. I actually started high school in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
Best experience of my life.
You was out there like Jade and Karate Kid out there. Cory was out there like Shaq. That's why he liked it. But the reason why I brought that up was the moving around, because we're talking about circles. So how hard is it to build circles outside of your immediate family that you're moving around?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a little difficult, man. There's probably 2 or 3 people that I built relationships with in Japan that I still talk to now. But yeah, it's a little different because you're at such a young age. I feel like as far as your circle, I feel like you don't necessarily build your circle until you reach some type of adolescence, because you get to choose at that point. Right? You can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. At that young of an age, it was more or less a circle, but a solid foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, just things that my dad instilled in me, man, being in the military, organization, structure, discipline. And it wasn't until I got older until I realized how those things transfer in other parts of your life, right? I tell this story all the time. Growing up, my dad, it was a requirement in our house for us to make our beds every morning.
Military.
Some folks grown.
And it better be tight. It better be tight.
You have adults every day that get up out the bed and maybe don't make up their bed, but
that's because I work 3 minutes away from my train, so I wake up 7 minutes before I gotta get there. I brush my teeth, grab a shake, bed, look the same way every day. So yes.
Nah, but man, I used to get annoyed as a kid trying to understand, like, what is the big deal about making up my bed? But my dad taught me, however you execute in one area, that transfers over into your life. So if you keep your room clean, you're gonna keep your car clean. If you keep your car clean, you're gonna keep your house clean. If you keep your house clean, you're gonna be an organized individual at work, and it transfers over to everything. You know what I mean? You can't say, okay, I'm gonna give 50% in this area, but I'm gonna give 100% in this area. Either you're an individual that's trained to give 100% in everything that you do, or you're not.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I truly believe that. So what about you, Z? How's your circle going?
Man, I'm an introvert, and so it's difficult for me to make new friendships and new relationships. And so for me, it was important just to kind of scope and see how everybody moves. The hardest part was getting out of the circle I was in and finding that new circle. As you have your circle in high school, and I remember my dad telling me, you only gonna have about 2-3 friends from high school that you keep in touch with. And I go, please, me and my crew tight. Ain't no way in hell that's gonna happen. We gonna forever be cool. But you grow up, and some of you grow apart. Some of you, it took a lot of discretion. I know that for me, it was about the abundance mentality. Finding people who, because I'm winning, it didn't feel like I was taking something off of their plate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it didn't have that underlying envy, because in some of my my former circles, I felt like my success was almost hard to communicate because of how it would make him feel how I was perceived. And it's just like, I'm just trying to tell y'all what I got going on. The fact that I'm winning that's just one of the things that I'm telling y'all about.
It wasn't intended to make you feel uncomfortable.
No, it wasn't intended to make you feel uncomfortable. And so what I really was intentional about was finding other people who may not be winning, but are working hard to win. Yeah. Because I feel like if you're working hard, it's hard to hate or envy anybody else because you understand that grind. And I think for me it was important to make sure that my circle was one that grinded, because we could share that experience and understanding that you're gonna take L's, you're gonna have W's, but regardless, I just want to be able to talk to y'all about both. And so, that was a big deal. And then my dad was obviously a major part of my foundation. He tatted on my arm. He was the best man at my wedding. He instilled a lot in me. I still talk to him every day. And he'll tell you in a heartbeat, it takes a village. Mm-hmm. It takes a village, and so I'm responsible now for building my own village and making sure that I surround myself with the right people. So
at what point would you say that you were, I guess, intentional or conscious about that circle? Like I said, I think it's a certain age, right?
Yeah.
So where would you say at what point in your life?
Yeah, I think it was when I finally got into my career, into my marketing career, and I started to understand.
Post-college?
Post-college.
Right.
Post-college. It was after college, after I finished playing football. Because, when you play sports, your circle is built from the locker room. Yeah. And the respect that you have for the people that are in your circle are really built around sports. Yeah. Oh, he cold, so I'm like, that's what I'm gonna hang with. Yeah. When I got out of school, it was like, oh, he's trying to progress. That's who I'm gonna hang with, because the respect is just different. Like, you a star football player, I'm cool, because that's what we doing. Yeah. But now it's building for our families. You talk about investing and leaving something for your son. You talk about leaving something for your kids, and you ain't even got kids yet. Exactly. And I'm talking about everything going to my son. And so, it was that's it. I think it was once I got into my career and once I started to advance and realize that everybody isn't going to accept your wins the same way or the way you would hope they would. And that's what really made me intentional about it, because I started to feel bad about communicating my success on it.
Exactly.
So what about you, DP? You got a fire circle. You started this mastermind group.
And before you even get started, I wanna thank you for bringing me into your circle, bro. Like we met on the strength of your business, my kid, and the investment that I'm making. And until then, I wasn't a part of your circle, man. But energy, the energy's there, man. The mindset's there, man. The mentality is there. The grind is there, man. So, first and foremost, brother, I'm glad to call you a friend, bro. And I appreciate, you allowing me into your circle, because great things have happened since we connected, man.
Yes, no, I appreciate it.
Though, let me echo that. Because that's real. And there's not a lot of people who will insert you into their circle with the way you do. You give it all. Like, it's not, and you don't leave anything out. Yeah. And that's the part where when you drop your knowledge, and even the people that you put in your circle, when they drop the knowledge, they drop it in all. Yeah. I mean, they'll show you the account if you need to see it to make your decision. That's the best. And so I really appreciate you, like Cory said, for just bringing us in and giving us that opportunity. When I moved back to Texas, you were the first person I hit up, and we hadn't even really talked like that. Exactly. But I was watching from afar and knew everything that you had going on. So, like Cory, man, I really do appreciate that. And you got a real network, so you earned that.
I appreciate y'all boys. But man, to be honest, my circle from the beginning has always been built around love, bro. Like, man, I know a lot of families and people that say I love you. I don't know too many that in this world that might say I love you more than my family to each other. Like, every call that we're on, every time we leave the house, every time we leave the facility, every morning, every night.
Dad,
my mom, dad, pops, all the time. Love you. Like, that's not even a thing. Me, I'm at the football game. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, love you. Kiss on the cheeks. It ain't even like, no, hey, pops, look. He in the room with us right now. He leaving. Hey, love you, man. Love you. And that's how I've always been built. So when I look for people to put into my circle, I look at people who are loving and caring people. Yeah. Usually when you find truly loving and caring people, you can find somewhere to place them in your circle. Like, for instance, your love that you have for your son. the love that you have for your son. Kellen, the love that he has for his son. Usually when you have somebody that loves, something a lot, they're going to be passionate about something. And when you find what they're passionate about, you can help them, they can help you. Then there's some people, I'm not saying you don't love somebody just because you don't say it, but that's just the love I know, right? That's the love, like, I don't have to wonder. Some people, like my son or my daughter or my wife knows I love them because I do this. I know my people love me because they say it, right? Every day. I know my mom loves me because literally, if I show you my text messages right now, it will be literally 75 messages straight up. I love you in the morning or I love you at night. And then we'll have little conversations in between. And that's how I built my circles on people that are loving and caring not only to me, but the people around them. And then when I found that out to be true that, hey, when I'm finding these passionate people about loving others, the people that I found are now passionate about something else and they love that as well. And that's just my whole way I do it. Is it right, is it wrong, or indifferent? But y'all seen the circle I'm around, right? And like all dogs, all beasts, and every last one of them, like from Uncle Robin. This sounds like said, loves his kids. He loves what he does. He loves helping. Adolf loves what he does. Like all these people, y'all, nobody knew anybody except for me. And we about 25, now 40 something, but probably about 10 of us really go hard, 20 of us are active in there, like really helping each other grow businesses. Like people don't even know, like we'll have all this chemistry on camera today, and Z and Cory met each other yesterday. Like now they've known each other for a couple of months because we put them in the mastermind business, but they met for the first time yesterday, but we can come in here seamlessly because we know what type of dudes are in the circle, know what type of cloth everybody's cut from. So literally just my family showing me love, and that's what I look for from others. Is that a loving person? Is that a good person? Is that a passionate person? And I don't even care about your business accolades. I just care about the type of person you are, because sometimes I don't even care if you help me out. I just know you're a good person. I want to help you out.
And that's big. And that's big because none of us said in our description that we were looking to get anything from anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I think in order for you to truly contribute to a circle or be part of a circle, you gotta come in with the contribution mindset. Like, how can I add value to this circle? And I love what you're saying, because when you have the foundation of love, you really are trying to just give everything you can to help everybody be successful. Like, if I have something of value, I will give it to you, and that's just out of love. And so that's big that you say it that way, because none of us, like I said, go in with the intent to receive or take.
Exactly. And with that, we'll transition into like the mindsets and outlooks. But it still goes around what you were talking about, right? The mindset. The mindset I have is to give to others, because that's what I grew up around. My dad was a police officer, so he gave his time, his service, his honor, his life, everything, right, to protecting the community for 25 years. My mom has had an in-home daycare for now 27 years. So she's taking care of other people's kids. I was a teacher. I'm a trainer. Everything that, my brother's a teacher, he's a trainer. Everything that my whole family's been in has been about service to others, taking care of others. So my outlook and my mindset has always been to give more than receive. And when I moved back from college, my mom gave me a place to stay with. Nothing, like, what are you gonna give us to stay here? You gonna pay half the rent? Literally pay $300, right? Just, I gave them $300 a month. $200 for car insurance, $100 for my cell phone bill. So I spent my own bills. It wasn't enough for them. And so when I said I gave them $300, it was because I was on their bills. So I gave them what my bills was for that. When I was young, it was never, hey, go get a job because you eating up too much food. I remember I tried to get a job. My pops was like, no, your job is football, well, school, and then football.
That's right.
You don't get a job. We got this over there. I'm giving you the opportunity to do what you want to do. So it was never like, some people's parents that actually have good households as far as financials go, nope, still go get a job because you need to start paying stuff in. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's not what I was brought up on. Mine was that if you have a dream, you have a vision, we're going to help you get there. So that was the outlook that I had from my personal perspective, being a young kid, never wanted for anything. Being older, didn't have to sit there and be like, okay, parents, like, how can I make this right for y'all? No, how can we make this right for you, son? And then just the mindset has always just been, go be a go-getter, give back to others, be a good person, be a caring person, and the circle gets built organically because people drift and connect with people that they see that are actually good people. I tell people I'm not the smartest, I'm one of the hardest workers, but there's a lot of things a lot of people are better than me at. But I think caring and being a good person, I'm going to be at the top of the list, and a lot of people would agree with that. Yeah. And that's just been my outlook and mindset of how I viewed the world, viewed getting a network, and just viewed how I move. So we'll pass it to you, let you start on this one, just about your mindset of how you grew up and now how you look out on things.
Yeah, I mean, I watched my dad grind. I watched my dad grind. My dad started Pick Association, which I've now taken over. He started it in 1996 when I was 8. And so my mentality watching him was, dang, okay, you gone. Like you out here doing stuff. And he took me everywhere with him. So I got to see it all. He owned a barbershop. He did credit repair. He did conventions and expos. And so he really instilled in me just, you have to be action oriented. You have to be doing something in order for stuff to happen. And so my mentality, and you know this just from my branding, is action, action, action. Knowledge plus action equals success. That's it. Yeah. And you know, it's about applied knowledge, because there's people out here who just read and read and read, but they don't ever take any action. Right. And I think, you know, the mentality is you've got to jump in that. You got to jump. You have to just start flying. I mean, you will learn how to flap them wings when you're in the air. Exactly. You don't learn how to flap them wings while your feet on the ground. And so my mentality has always been, you know, launch with the best foundation you can, but let's adjust and figure it out. And I actually have figured it out tatted on me. My dad was always figure it out. If you know, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, that can versus can't attitude, just having that solution oriented feel. You know, there's people who say, I can't. Well, what can you do? Yeah. And that's something you talked about yesterday that I thought was extremely important, because that's the mindset. What can I do? And I'm always solution oriented. So that was a big part of that's a big part of how I was brought up. You know, and now I listen to Gary Vee all the time. And one thing that he says a lot is, I want to leave this world having given more than I've taken. Right. And I think that's huge too. So whenever I go into anything, I'm trying to figure out how to give. Just how can I give value? How can I benefit somebody else? And to me, that's just inserting yourself into the universe of giving. And in that universe, somebody got to receive. Yeah. But if I go in with it's full circle, it comes back. And so, but if you go in with the giving mentality, like you said, people gravitate towards you, and it's surprising how the resources kind of just pop up whenever you just out here giving.
I truly believe that. How do you get that facility? Yeah. How does it? Bruh, I was in my bed, somebody called me, and hey, I've been thinking about you, and this popped up, and I know you're
pretty positivity.
I try to tell people,
it comes back around, and I think that's what we struggle with, is that instant gratification mindset, right? 100%. We only see people at the peak of where they are. For me, the word exposure sticks out. Again, part of my dad being in the military, I had a chance to see a different world, you know what I mean? To live in a different country, you know, and if I had to play devil's advocate, you know, I do understand that there's some people who are disadvantaged, right? There's some people who don't have the means or the resources, or have never been outside of the state of Texas or the city. That's their environment.
Or the family support, like we talked about.
Exactly. So maybe they don't have the father at home. So I do understand that some people are a little slower out of the gate, and you know, what you don't know exists, you technically can't chase. You know what I mean?
I posted that status the other day. I forgot who originally, but it was one of the politicians. They call her AOC. Maria always. That's what they call. I can't remember her name, but she's like, you can't be what you can't see. If it doesn't exist to me. If I never seen.
So when we ask people, it's like, man, how does this person not want more in life? You know, maybe they don't know more exists. You know, but you know, a benefit to me growing up is my dad showed me that. So growing up, I knew what those possibilities were. I knew Dallas, Texas wasn't it. You know, that's not the only thing. I knew that there were things outside of this world. So, you know, my outlook again was shaped on, you know, just all the things that I was exposed to. And, you know, I wish everyone had those opportunities. And that's kind of, when I started getting older and meeting people who didn't have a very wide frame mindset, it made me go back and appreciate things. I'm like, man, these people have no idea.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to people like, yeah, man, I went to vacation. I was like, where'd you? Austin. I was like, oh. I was like, I was expecting you to tell me somewhere else, and no shame. I mean, no shame on that.
But from your views, that's not what I would do for vacation, because I know there's so much more world that's more beautiful,
Correct.
more culture,
and having a deeper conversation with those individuals, I learned that they had not been outside of Texas. And I was like, wow.
So they were just going to another part of Texas.
And to them, that was a utopia. And I'm like, man, people really don't know what's out there. Man.
And let me tell you a story about that. My dad and them grew up 2 bedroom or 3 bedrooms, but super small bedrooms. 13 people in the house, right? They used to take a vacation every summer. 10 minutes down the highway to their granddad. That was vacation. Like, we didn't go back home. We stayed over there for like a week. Like, that wasn't like, oh, we're just staying over here. To them, they didn't say, hey, we're going to stay at Granny's. They're like, oh, we're about to go on vacation. Because they grew up in Topeka.
That's crazy.
With 13 people in a 3-bedroom house. So when you grow up that way, vacation is going 10 minutes down the street to grandma's house, whose house is bigger than ours, and we get to have more fun over there.
And that's why you have to talk to your people, so you can understand where we came from too.
Yes.
You know, like, I think there's not enough people who talk to their family about where we come from. My dad from Philly, like the slums of Philly.
Yeah.
And about 2.5 years ago, I went back just to see it. I had never been. I mean, I was born in Texas, lived in Texas, had never been to Philly before. And I went and looked at at my grandma and my dad's old house, and that was humbling. I was like, damn, we're from here.
Exactly.
You know, and now I'm going, okay, I see the progress. I see what y'all worked hard to do. And it started with my grandmother, who, came during a time when they weren't going to college. I mean, she picked cotton, hell, you know what I'm saying? So like, she went from that to getting a job at Mobile, and they moved her to Dallas, and now she made it out of Philly. You in Garland now, like, you got the house and the kids, and then my dad was the first one to go to college, and just understanding
the generational progress
gives you if you don't know it, you can't appreciate where you came from and what it took to get out of there. I think because I did that, I now have a better appreciation for what my grandparents went through to even give us this opportunity.
And now you have your eyes set on pushing that envelope.
100%.
A lot of the things that you're doing for your son, DP, that you're doing for your future kids,
Design.
things that I'm doing.
You can name it.
Design.
Y'all will learn about that later. Design.
The things that you're doing for Design and DP. Yeah, man, that stuff is not going to come into fruition until years from now. There's things that I'm trying to lay out for Caleb. But honestly, some of the things that I'm doing now probably won't benefit Caleb. They'll benefit Caleb's kids. That should be the blueprint to follow. You know what I mean?
That's actually a good point, because it's interesting. My dad, he's experienced a bunch of success in his business endeavors, and one of the things that he did was he bought the land that my grandmother grew up on in North Carolina. But when he did that, he put everything in my name. Everything in my name. Put my name on all the deeds for the land, the deed on the house, everything. And I think that's the kind of mentality that, from exposure, I'm going, take my name off and put Zamari's name on there now. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I build, it's for my son now. We just didn't have that. So, like you talking about, we're not building for ourselves or for anything that we even want. I don't want anything. Exactly. I don't want anything. I just want my son to be able to look up and make his own decision about what he wants to do, and to leave the resources for him to have that flexibility.
We just leave the tools, man, and whatever they want to build is up to them. I'm not gonna push college down my son's throat. With today's generation and things that you can do without going to school, if he chooses to do that, then that's his decision. But if not, I think we've been programmed, right? I've been programmed to think college is what's the one answer, and that came from my dad. Because he went to college, but then his father, my grandpa, didn't go to college. So we got to be careful of how we program. So you're talking about outlooks. Like, we have to make sure that we set a solid foundation for our kids, but we can't necessarily impose our outlook onto them.
What you have to do is have a foundation and a program like this phone does. but it also updates every couple of months.
Yeah.
You got to update the foundation in the program.
Yeah.
Well, keep the foundation, but update the program.
Facts. I like
And
that.
that's
I
the
like
thing. Is because this program is amazing
For right
in
now.
2020.
There you go. There you go.
But it's trash in
There
2050.
you go. There you
You
go.
have to update. Everybody's running the option in the beer back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Now we're in the spread. And then one day they're like, analytics was like,
Yeah.
we were throwing the ball 50 times a game. You should just line up in a straight line and then we're going to be looking crazy.
We can't update it though. I think that's going to be the next generation to update it. Our responsibility is to leave them again the tools. Right? I'm going to leave my son the resources, the information, the whatever monetary value I can leave him, whatever property I'm going to leave him everything. Now, what you choose to do with that is you. You have to live your own life.
That's gonna be it.
If I leave you a college fund and you decide not to go to college, you still have that money.
Right.
Are you going to take that money and start a business? Like whatever you decide to do is you. But my job is to leave you tools. Your job is to build whatever the heck you want to build.
Okay, and now that's cool because it actually leads us into our next topic of going through our embracing adversity, but the black man's ego. Because not only are there's a million ways to go with this, but the ego of I did this, I did that, I left you this money, this is the lifestyle you need to live. No, you're going to go to college, you're going to wear your haircut like this. I've done too much for you to be making a fool out of me. So with that being said, like I said, we can go 100 different ways with this. But with the black man's ego, I guess I'll even start this one off. I think it comes from just society, right? And the pressures of things that were done in the past. For instance, slavery. Things that have been done in the past of saying Jim Crow laws and you're not equal. So now it's like my ego says I have to show you not only that I'm equal, I'm better. I gotta show you that I don't need you. I gotta show you I don't need a woman, I don't need a white person, I don't need anybody. I'm strong all by myself. Right? And that's the thing I've seen. Women, they do try to do, the independent thing, especially black women. No problem with that because they have that same type of ego we have because we're fighting against things that's been taken away and oppressed against us. But I think that we always think, oh man, if I don't wear this type of hair, if I don't wear this type of clothes, if I do wear this, whether somebody gonna think, where I've seen other ethnicities, races, cultures are like, I'm free, like I can wear that, like why would you think that about me?
Right.
And like I said, the biggest thing, the hoodie, like dang, I gotta wear it. So now in your ego, you like, you know what, I'm not gonna wear a hoodie. I'm gonna go get the big house. I'm gonna go get the big car. I'm gonna go get the watch, and I'm gonna let you know I'm not like those other black folks. I'm better, and I'm better than you. Whereas a lot of my other friends in other cultures, right, Hispanic, Asian, they got a lot of money, and I don't care if I got money. I don't got an ego about it because nobody doesn't think that I might not have money. And that's the biggest thing I think from way back then. We have. From everything that's happened in the past, we're trying to still show, hey, we're strong. We don't need that. We're past that. And it comes back not only into us, but our kids, because you do see a lot of, no, you're not wearing your hair like that. Right. No, you're not going to do this. You're not going to, but it's like, but really, they're like, hey, like, why can't they wear that? Like, nobody cares. Like, my friends from my other cultures, they don't care how their kids wear their hair at 8 years old, for sure. Like, I can see if they're going on a job interview, but they're in second grade. So I think that because it's a reflection, like what we talked about, because now we feel like it's a reflection on us. And my ego says, hey, we're trying to prove we're up and keeping up with the Joneses and the white folks and everybody else that didn't think we could do it back in the day and maybe still today. So don't mess up what I got going. Yeah. I think that's a big thing that we go through with ego.
That's a selfish, that's a selfish mindset. Ego's got many faces to it though, right? So, a lot of people attach the ego to a negative connotation, right? Yeah. Ego's got good and bad to it, right? So ego attaches itself to things like fear, or vulnerability, or like you said, pride, and things like that. That's the negative side. But at the same time, the ego also is the reason why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Confidence.
There you go. So you got to understand that the ego is what is going to make anyone jump out, take a leap of faith and say, you know what, I can do this.
100%.
Right? The ego, my ego is what made me say, you know what, I can do a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Your ego is what make you say, okay, I can start a fitness, company. Your ego said, hey, TRPT, I can brand that, right? And now all of us are doing different things. So the ego is necessary, right?
100%.
But once we achieve that, that, I'm not gonna say plateau, but once we've got our foot in the water, we've got to step back away from ego and kind of just let spirit and energy, guide us from there.
Exactly.
So you need the ego to get you out of your comfort zone, but understand once you've reached that, you got to get rid of that. It's not a me, I did this,
100%.
foundation. But as far as, it attaching itself to negative things, you hit the nail on the head, man. Like, I think we have a perception of how the people in our life or the things that we do make us look, you know what I mean? And I'm a victim of that, right?
Yeah.
So my son's to the point where he's coming in his personality, he's wanting to do different things, right? He told me he wanted to do the whole sponge hairstyle. My immediate response was like, nah, you're not doing that. No. You're gonna be clean cut for the rest of your life because I wanna make sure that when people look at you, they perceive you a certain type of way. Shame on me for that. Shame on me. I imposed my ego onto him, saying, I don't want you to be this way because I don't want people to look at you this way. What I'm really saying is, I don't want people to look at me a certain type of way that they see.
Let your son walk around with any type of haircut like that, and a lot of times it's our own people that are looking at us crazy. Like, right, we think maybe it's white, but a lot of times, and even if they're thinking that, we don't truly know what they're thinking. But we do know what grandma, auntie, boy, you gonna let your son walk around here looking any type of way. So now it's like, true, cut your hair.
Yeah. What we're doing is we're conditioning. We're already conditioned, right? As adults, we're conditioned. What we're doing is we're conditioning the next generation to repeat our same mindset when we should be breaking that. Right now, we've all been brought up to operate in between the lines. I don't want to teach my son to operate in between the lines. I want to teach him that there's success outside of those lines. So
100%.
if I'm not going to stifle his curiosity, his creativity, one thing that we don't do as adults, kids are curious. If you ever watch kids, they notice the difference between black and white. They ask questions. Why do you look like this? Why is your hair like that? That's a great thing. As adults, we stop being curious.
We confined it.
And when we stop being curious, that's why we don't understand each other, because we don't have conversations. We don't ask questions.
Let me, what was it? It might have been a comedian, but it was somebody. Curiosity, right? And we're talking about confining and conditioning. And it was like, somebody said when, a lot of times when we go out as black folks, right, we better not act up in the store, you better be quiet, you better do this and that. They were saying, I've heard millions of times from a doctor, when black families come in there, doctor walks in, family sitting there, hey sir, what is that? Boy, hush, what's that? Hush. But he's asking questions and our parents are telling us to hush. But he said, a lot of times, I don't remember, this is all generalized, but a lot of times, he said, I'll go in there with white patients and they'll be like, ask the doctor the questions I told you to ask him. They're telling them to ask and be curious because they are curious. So get your answer, right?
But why are we silencing our kids?
Right? Exactly.
It's I don't want the doctor or whoever's in this room to view us as just just shut up and sit down.
Don't make us look dumb.
Yeah, don't make us look dumb. You know what I mean? That's all ego.
Exactly. So that's good because we talk about that curiosity and kids are naturally curious. And then when you were talking about with your son, so it's like, yeah, but that's that ego of like, nope, don't say nothing. You're going to make me look a certain way. You in here talking too much. He might be like, why you ain't got this on? Don't matter. Like, you in here to do a job. My son's asking you a simple question. You you should be explaining it to us anyway. So
we're our biggest adversity when it comes to that, just getting outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, how you feel? How's the ego impacted your life?
I mean, I think y'all hit it on. I think y'all hit the nail on the head. Especially you were talking about the independence. I think we've been conditioned to showcase our independence.
Yeah.
Showcase it. I think at the end of the day, independent people can still collaborate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like I see where like that independence, when you flex it and you just trying to show I can get it without you, that hinders you. That really puts you in a box, and it only allows you to leverage your resources. I mean, if I have to flex my independence, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would say, well, I'll just start my own podcast, show y'all that I can do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And there's so much opportunity to leverage each other's resources when you become more flexible. And so I think that ego, you know, us being conditioned to showcase our independence versus just be independent but be open to collaborating, is what we have to kind of shift and show our kids. Like, you can still be independent, you can still be that dude, and still leverage your partnerships in the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, one of the things that y'all are talking about just makes me think about flexibility. You talk about upgrading the software. You have to be flexible and get outside of those lines, be open to getting outside of those lines in order for you to upgrade and stay in business and stay, you know, abreast of what's going on in society. You have to be flexible. You can't be rigid. I'm like you. My son may not have to go to college. I don't know that system was built in, you know, for us today.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But that takes a large amount of openness and flexibility to go, all right, I don't know what the world gonna look like in 15 years when he 18 and I'm saying school, college. I don't know. Harvard professors might have online classes where you can pick your own stuff.
Yeah.
We all know we left college not having the knowledge we needed to embark on this life journey.
I asked y'all yesterday how much information from college that y'all learned or that you're applying on a day-to-day. And I learned I'm applying more real-life social skills to what I do versus textbook information.
Yeah, like the textbook, nothing like all those things that I learned out of the textbook are all Googleable.
100%. And
that's for free.
And if I think about school, it's crazy because I'm like, why wouldn't you be able to use your book on a test? Like, why wouldn't you be able to Google it? Like, why not?
Because like,
you get to the job, they're not gonna say close your book.
They're not gonna say that. They're not gonna. As a matter of fact, they're gonna be like, Google it.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna say, hey, don't go look for other sources to confirm what you think. They're never gonna say, hey, man, don't use a calculator when you're trying to build this house and you're trying to make sure this is exact. They're gonna pull out your calculator, then pull out the measuring tape, and then pull out 3 more calculators and 3 more measuring tapes to make sure it's exactly instead of like, write this on the wall. No.
One thing that I used to say in college, and I told my brother, I said, being smart is not knowing the material, it's knowing how to make an A. Mm-hmm. And that's just knowing how to leverage all your resources. Mm-hmm. Now, in school, that meant I might have had a little bottle or something that I had the answer on the inside. But but being smart is knowing how to get the A.
To work harder, not
work harder. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
you know, just using your resources to accomplish your goal. Don't confine yourself to. And that goes back to the ego and the independence. I'm gonna flex and show you all that I can do it without the book, man. Forget all that. We open up this book. You know what I'm saying?
Some of us feel like that. You hit it like with people. I can do without other people. And one of the signs of a great leader or a great coach is knowing how to put people in position.
Absolutely.
I could be a subject matter expert in absolutely nothing. But to your point, I'm smart enough to go get this guy who does IT, to go get this guy who does marketing. I don't know anything, but I know how to put a team together, and I'm gonna let them execute.
Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg.
100%.
Like I said, Mark did some coding, but he had a lot of coders around. He had a financial guy. If you ever watched social media, the Social Network movie, Steve Jobs, he was the idea guy. All the other people did build the phones. Like they was executing everything. Yeah. Like I said, with my group, I was like, hey, let me just get all the best people I know, put them together. I'm not saying, hey, I'm gonna teach you about trucks, I'm gonna teach you about podcasts, I'm gonna teach you about LLCs. Right. No, I'm gonna just find people that did all those at a high level, put them in one group, and let everybody go eat.
And I feel like that's the issue with the negative parts of the ego that attach you to being independent, is it doesn't allow you to have that vision, that broad vision, to even accept the what you can learn from people that you have access to. Yeah. Like, I'm independent, I'm not listening to you. If you just opened your ears, you'd start a trucking company and be making plenty of money right now. You know what I mean? Like it's just stuff. You'll block your own blessings because you trying to showcase your independence. Just be independent. You don't have to show it.
And I always try to make the most simple analogy for everybody to get, right? Mm-hmm. Not dumb it down, but dumb it down. Like if you go in a weight room and you can bench 200 pounds. If all three of us got on the bar, we might do 600 pounds.
That's right.
Simple.
That's right.
As simple as that. When you do it by yourself, you're going to do 200. Mm-hmm. And when we all try to move something, literally,
I love that.
You're going to move more. It was me.
So how much weight you really want to move?
Yeah.
Exactly. Literally. It was like just no different than us moving this couch. It was us being like, hey, let's get this. And they were like, hold on. Just Z's at the door, bring them in. I'll get this corner, you get that corner. And then it's boom. Then we didn't have to take nothing apart because we all could just pick up a part. And it was much easier.
You know what though? That kind of speaks to what we talked about a long time ago, and that's collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
I'd rather make $1 million with you than make 250,000 separate. You know, we can get together and make $500,000 each. Yeah. You know, but you want to make your 250 by yourself.
So I told you I could do it.
Just so you can say you did it, and I'm going, man, forget all that. I want the $500K, and I don't care. I want to make sure that I partner with somebody that I believe in, but I'd rather partner with somebody and get that done, collaborate versus compete. And we have friendly competitions between each other. Like we buy trucks together, we buy trucks at the same time. I want to make more money than him, but I'm not gonna not provide him the resources to make as much money as he can as well. Yeah. And I think that's what I love about our circle. That's what I love about our mentality. That's what I love about the fact that we all put our egos aside because. You know, he'll let me keep my truck at his place for free. I'll send him loads that he can take. I'm not going to take nothing from it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We just want to see each other win, and that's being able to put your ego aside and decide that you prefer to collaborate over just compete with each other.
I think that's the answer to get us ahead as a race, right? Mm-hmm. So there's plenty of individuals, Black individuals that are doing well in today's society, but collectively. We're still behind the curve. So, like you said, I mean, when you look at other cultures, man, Asians, like they're buying up blocks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be the Black guy that owns the store in this neighborhood. Mm-hmm. I want to be the Black guy that owns the store, and then there's another Black person that owns the cleaners. And that, like I want us to own that block. Mm-hmm. Like let that be our community. Let's not have individuals who are successful, man. Exactly. Because if we collab, it's a lot of us getting money out here.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's a lot of us getting money. So just imagine if everyone who's getting money and everyone who has those resources comes together. Mm-hmm. Now we are forced to be reckoned with collectively.
100%.
And VP, you should talk about this a little bit because I know me and you both did this. We stayed with our parents, and I think you had an opportunity to stay with your parents and that independence. On both sides, we can't keep you out to do that, to go back home.
My ego initially was like, I want to be on my own. I want to get my own. I had to put my ego aside and say, you know what? I do have a college degree. I do have a kid. But I'm going to play the long game, and I'm actually going to live at home. And honestly, I had friends and stuff that mess with me. You still living at home with your mom?
There you go.
Yeah. 5 years later. Yeah.
We sipping mimosas. Mimosas.
You know, and that's important because you put your ego aside. I stayed with my grandparents for the first 4.5 years of my marketing career. Yeah. Didn't pay a dime on mortgage. Didn't pay a dime on anything. They just and this is both sides. This is parent and child, or grandparent and child. Our families have to become more open to allowing the kid to come back home and stay there.
And that's their ego.
And that's exactly. Their ego. I don't want my kid to be at home.
Exactly.
It's a reflection back on them. But if you set your ego aside and just do what's right for your child, my son will be able to come home anytime to rebuild, to re-foundation, whatever it is he needs to do. Yeah. I'm going to be open to that because the amount of money that I saved in that 4.5 years, the amount of traveling I was able to do, the amount of exposure I was able to get because I had that opportunity was huge. And so I know you also did some of that. So talk about
I was at my parents' house from right after college, so I was about 27, almost 28. So about from 23 to 28, about 4 years maybe. Yeah. And I enjoyed it. And the biggest thing is I never had an ego. Me, my mom, my dad, We all get along amazing. My brother, we get along
And they
great.
make you feel bad for being there.
No, they were like, man, you're good. Like, excuse me, you can be here as long as you want to be. And it was for that very reason that I'm here now, that we have 3 buildings, probably about to be number 4, number 5. We have a trucking company. We have all these different things because I got to save everything. And then not only that, the ego wasn't set aside just so I could get on my feet and be like, okay, I'm good now. The ego was set aside for way more than being good now. It was for being amazing, being great, being exceptional. I was living in my parents' house for 3 years while making 6 figures.
That's right.
I'm making 6 figures.
That's right.
Living rent free. Happy as I don't know what. And as soon as mama was like, hey, yeah, you know, we gonna need $100 for it. Oh! Hey, mama! Not 100. But it was just because, and it was not even like, I'm super cheap, everybody know. But it wasn't even for that, it's because I'm like, I have just this goal in my head. I just gotta get here. I want to say everything I want to do because I knew I was going to be in a position like this one day where I was going to spend because now I was in position to invest all those into all those hours that I was at the house. I remember friends used to be like, man, you with your mama, man, you with you staying at home. They used to get on my parents about it. It's like, you need to let tell your son to move out. Not knowing while y'all worrying about what I'm doing at the crib, your kid is struggling, and you won't let them move. And it's one, because your kid wants to be out to say their own, and 2, you want your kid to struggle and prove to you that they can do it themselves. And so your ego can feel better about, see, I knew my son, I raised him right.
But you're not setting him up for success. You're trying to get self-gratification that has nothing to do with your kid. You're trying to feed yourself.
Well, here's a question.
That's crazy.
Here's a question I got for both of you then. In order to stay with your parents and you stay with I stay with my grandparents, did y'all have a conversation about what you were trying to accomplish and why you were staying there that allowed y'all to all be on kind of a level ground to say, okay, I'm not just here because I just lazy or just want to be here. I'm here for a reason, and here is my reason. And I think, I had that conversation with my grandparents. I'm just like, look, I want to stay with y'all. What I would like to do is save as much money as I can so that I can pay off my truck, pay off, get a good conventional loan on a house. I want to do those things right, buy the furniture. There was just so much stuff that you knew you were going to have to take care of in life, be prepared to invest in business and things like that. And once they heard that, they're like, oh yeah, no, that's not a problem. You can definitely come. Did y'all have that type of conversation?
Absolutely, but I think that goes back to what you hit on earlier, was your outlook. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference. Somebody in that position with a plan and an outlook. Yeah, I feel like that's nothing more than communication. At least that individual has a plan.
Exactly.
On the flip side, you do have those individuals who, hey man, I'm gonna be a mom as long as you let me.
And I tell people, regardless right or wrong, my whole thought process on staying with your parents, siblings, loved ones, whatever. If you have a plan and you're working towards executing, not executing the plan, but working towards executing that plan, we're good. Yeah. But as soon as you're taking advantage, because it's not all right to take advantage of anyone, I don't care if it's your parent, you're just sitting on this couch, not looking for a job, not executing the plan, then we talk about, hey, I'm about to give you a time where either you're going to start executing on this, or you're going to have to get something that will let you sustain on your own. For the simple fact is, you can't just mooch off of me because I'm your mom. That's wrong for anybody. But I don't care if you stay. My parents told me you can be 35, bro. As long as you're working towards something, you're good to be here. The day you're just sitting here because you want to be here, and now we're basically raising a kid again, that's no longer an option. And that was my biggest thing. My parents always knew what I was shooting for. They already knew what I was aiming for. They seen the goal, they seen the outlook, they seen the passion, they seen the drive. And that was always my dad's like, hey, let me worry about my son, because I know where he's trying to go. 100%. And then, meanwhile, and it's the ego, and it's not logical thinking. You'll have parents of other people that say, you need to tell your son to move out of the house, and this and that. Meanwhile, their son, daughter's asking them for $500 a month to help cover rent. They sleeping in their car. They're living like
it's cheaper to keep them.
Yeah, and they living just an unhealthy lifestyle. But meanwhile, you're telling somebody else, go throw your kid into this unhealthy lifestyle that I know because they're asking me, and I know what I'm going through with my kid. Like I said, and that's the whole thing. Is just the ego of how people perceive. Like, why would you tell somebody to move their kid out when you know what you're dealing with your kid on the outside.
Right.
That's like me saying, hey, go ahead and go in the backyard and see the quarter. Knowing I just got bit up, I said, okay. You know what's out there, why would you send somebody else back there?
They don't
But
want
it's
to be
just
that,
that ego.
that parent. They don't want to be that parent that has their kid at home. So yeah, I mean, we carry those egos. Our parents carry those egos, but we got to understand the origin of those egos, right? Those egos are passed down generations.
Exactly.
So again, it's that conditioning. I think the biggest thing is just being awareness, and I think we're a good generation, or you know, we're millennials, and we kind of understand what that world is now. We understand what that update looks like.
Exactly.
My dad was operating on the previous update, the previous program. You know, we were PS5.
Yeah.
My dad was operating on Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
And we're PS5 now, and then our kids are going to be something completely different, and then the game changes.
And as a parent, you got to be open and understanding
I'm about
of
to
those
say that.
transitions.
My dad does a real good job, and my mom is amazing. She just saying she don't care. But my dad at first but now he's really fluid with like every update that comes.
100%.
And that's the biggest thing. You lose your ego, especially when you know you got good kids, right? With a good head on it. They're trying to tell you like that ain't how we do it no more.
Yeah.
We're losing time, we're losing money, we're losing opportunity,
Yeah.
we're losing everything with what you're trying to do. And then once my pop seen, hey, this is where it's going, now it's just like, hey, let me know what we need to do. The ego's gone.
There you go.
I see you proved yourself, the ego's gone. You said it literally, I call my pops right now.
Yeah.
Hey man, call these people, woo woo woo. He gonna do it because he understands that's how we do it now. He didn't want to get on social media. Now he's killing it on social media.
Yeah.
And that's the big, I'm talking about every day I'm arguing with this man when I'm doing post. Man, it's too hard. Like, boy, you text message all day. How you can't post on the thing? Like,
real shit, DP. We gonna do a whole podcast on just being a second generation entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because I dealt with that shit too. Me and my dad, and we got some strong personalities. We was every day when I was taking over Pick Association, like, well, I don't understand. You ain't gotta understand, and I don't got enough time to really explain it in that much depth. I mean,
this is where it's going.
It's just how it goes. I can't get you out of your Sega Genesis and into this PS5 in a day. You just gotta trust that I know how to play this PS5.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think me and you need to get together and talk about that in more depth. I think there's a lot of people who plan to take over their parents' business or plan to do business.
But the business has to adjust.
It has to adjust, and the parent has to be
like,
willing
no,
to.
that's not how we do it.
100%. The parent has to be willing to hand that over and be open to adjustment and just provide the wisdom that's needed to help make those future decisions. I put on here that it's important, the things that y'all are talking about, it's important to communicate those goals out loud so that we can hold each other accountable. And I don't think that we do that enough.
Exactly.
Like, that ego doesn't allow you to put out there in the world what your actual goals are, because for my ego, I don't want to not accomplish it and somebody come to me and go, I thought you said you was gonna pull back up and
ask my cameraman over there, young Junior, that be behind the thing. We had that conversation, right? I was like, what are you trying to do with your fighting, bro? I said, because you ain't said it, you just in here kicking the bag and punching it a lot. I said, are you doing this for cardio? Because that's 100% fine. Or are you trying to do it to become a fighter?
Right.
I said, just tell me whichever one. So when you don't go get in that ring, I can be like, oh, what happened?
Right.
Or if you're not in here doing this, I can be like, hey, I thought you said you're trying to say, I just want to know what you're doing so I can hold you accountable to that.
Intentional.
Yes.
A lot of us are not intentional about the things that we do.
100%. If
Even,
it happens, it happens.
even relationships, right? You know what I mean? When you're intentional about something, you essentially are okay with the outcome of whatever that journey was, right? You know, male, female. If your intent is to hook up with a chick and that's it, after that transaction is done, you guys need to release each other because you stated what your intent was, right?
Exactly.
You know, you don't have no mixed feelings. If your intent is to go to work every day and just get by, like, hey man, I'm just here for a paycheck, then I understand that. And I don't expect anything more from you because you're
Clocking out when it's time to clock out.
Exactly.
That's such a big topic. My dad, it's funny because when you have our mentality as entrepreneurs, you kind of want to pull that entrepreneurship out of everybody you meet. Like, you know you don't got to work for nobody, right?
Yeah.
And there's some people who, I just want to clock in and clock
And
out.
if they are intentional about that and speak their truth, you have to respect
I'm
that.
fine with that.
Yeah.
I think the problem is we don't communicate
Our
that
intent.
our intent
Yeah.
enough. So you're right. We don't communicate our intent enough. So we aren't treating people the way they should be treated based on their intent. We're treating them based on our intent and what we hope they do through our vision for them. And if you communicate what you're trying to do, you can then let the people know that are in your circle. Don't push me to do anything that's not this. You know what I'm saying? If I communicate to you clearly that it's just cardio, quit trying to put me in the ring. Well, then I won't, because I'm not trying to push you to be anything you don't want to be.
I just want to know. Like, I just want to know so I can help.
But a lot of us don't know.
Exactly.
I don't think a lot of people, when we do the things that we all done some dumb shit in our life, right? Yeah. I think just moving around, a lot of us don't take the time to think, you know. I personally, I set an intention every morning I wake up.
Yep.
What is my intent today? My intent is to X, Y, and Z. And there's no scale to that. It could be something as small as my intent today is to show love to someone else. Yep. My intent today is to ensure that I smile more. Yep. Like whatever it is, but when you wake up in the morning, you should have a reason. You should have a reason. What is your intent when you wake up? What is your intent when you walk into that building? What is your intent when you sit down with that person?
Exactly. And that's a good segue into what we're talking about now, starting a business without all the answers or resources. And the reason I say that is because if you have an intent on something, you don't have to have everything, because you know where you're going.
You know where you're headed.
And that's the thing. I don't need all the resources. I don't need all the money. I don't need all the answers. But I know I want to do this.
Absolutely.
And when you know that, the resources get picked up along the way, the people get picked up along the way, the answers get picked up along the way, the money gets made along the way.
It just does.
For the trucking business, our boy Kels told us about the truck. Literally, like I said, I'm just intentional. You saying this is what you're doing? I don't need to see your bank account, but I want to see at least 1 month of Amazon statement, because you're telling me this. Because if I'm going to intentionally make a move and buy something, I got to at least know what I'm looking at as far as a ballpark.
Let's shout out Kels real quick. What do you think his intent was with throwing that ball, throwing that information out there to the group?
Man, I'll tell you, all the time,
he didn't have to do that.
I noticed, and I always say this all the time about my boy Kels, I don't know many people that show more love to people that he deals with than Kels. If you go look at his page, you're gonna see me all over it. You're gonna see the boxing gym his son goes all over it. He's gonna be shouting everybody out. If he goes somewhere to eat, he's tagging it. And that's what I love about him, a selfless person. And once again, love. I throw him in a group, he shows love. So it's by no accident does this stuff happen. Like I said, I know good people when I know good people. And it was just about the love he showed to me, my business, other businesses. Like I said, this ain't just because it's DP anything. Everything his son attends, he's shouting out. He shouts out Deontay.
Bro, everything. And you know what, Kels is funny because, and I don't know Kels that like all that well, and he still sat down with me and answered every single question I had. I was on
so excited, like, yo, pull up. Oh, this is where I'm gonna be at from this time, and then if I'm not there, then my son practice over here. Pull up.
There, he's like, pull up wherever. I'll give you whatever information, and I'm not gonna leave nothing out. And one thing that I saw on Facebook, and we have a mutual friend, Robert Hunt, who owns a business called The Grind Circuit. Rob had commented something on Facebook, and Kels replied to his comment going, yo, y'all beat the brakes off of us a couple weeks ago. Man, kudos and respect to your son and y'all's team. And I thought that was cool because it's like, that's somebody just jumping in going, yo, putting myself aside, y'all beat the brakes off of us, y'all cold, you know, and there's not a lot of people who will, you know, reach out to people and go, yo, y'all killing it, you know, at my expense, shit, y'all with my ass, but you doing your thing. And so I got a lot of respect for Kels. I mean, and just the group that you put together, Kels was spitting all those numbers in the group, and by the end of 2 days, we had 5 people in that group with LLCs. 2 weeks later, we got 5.
But that goes back to the intention of that group, right? You could have formed another group. Kels could have shared that information, and nothing could have happened. So everybody in this mastermind group has the same intention. They want to grow. They're wanting to develop business. They're wanting to create wealth for their family. Like everyone in that group has the same mindset, the same intention. So, I mean, only good things can come out of that.
Exactly.
What was the topic you said?
So just starting that business without basically all the resources and answers. So, like, we got into that. I created the group. Kels threw the information out there. Like I said, within 2 days of doing that, we got 5 LLCs. We got 5-6 trucks now out that group, and none of us had all the shoot. People was like, I got my truck. The day we about to drive, my driver says, "Hey, we need to get some depth." I said, I called him immediately, and I was like, "Bro, what is that? What is that?" And he was like, "I said, is that some paperwork or something we need to sign?" He's like, "No, it's just like putting it in the gas tank or whatever and all that, you know." Quickly, I was like, "Okay." So I called. I was like, "Bro, I don't know none of this stuff." I said, "I only know what I know. I know you know how to drive. You done this. Kels told me enough to start the business, but we're gonna figure this out along the way because my intent is to build something great, but I don't need every answer to start building this because I got enough of it for me to have a concept."
As he said, what can you do?
What can
Exactly.
you do? What can you do? It's about being solution oriented, and I got a statement where I say perfection is the enemy of progression. You know, you trying to be perfect is going to stall you from actually making progress. Y'all out here trying to cross these T's and dot these I's. And in reality, the person on the other end of that email or the other end of that opportunity did not give a shit about that T or that I. Yeah. You just need to jump out there. You will learn along the way. I'm calling brokers now to get loads for the truck. They asking me questions like, "Do you have an E-Track? Is it 7 feet tall?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
I remember you asked me about that E-Track. Was it you that asked me about the E-Track? And I was like, "No, that's the stuff in the truck."
Bro, I thought it was an electronic
Yeah,
track.
he was like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, they got they're tracking the loads." I was like, "No, that's in the back of the truck." Don't feel bad. I learned it yesterday, but I learned it before you.
Bro, I'm serious. That's where that friendly competition comes from. I'm still giving the information, but I'm telling you, they asking me questions. I'm going, "Yeah, I got that." And then they go on and they asking the rest of their questions, and I'm on Google E-Track.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, we got it. And they ask something else. I'm like, "Shit. Oh, actually, my bad, man. I thought you said Z-Track." I mean, but you just gotta go. You just gotta go. And we be on our way to the load trying to figure it out. And I'm going, "Hey, they actually need a pallet jack. Why don't you pull over and just grab that?"
Yeah.
You know, you got the credit card on. And so perfection is the enemy of progression. It'll stop you from ever jumping. And I think that people just need to understand how you launch is not how you going to finish. Right. You have time to adjust. And this business is and just business in general is all about implement and adjust. That's it. Just implement and adjust. Implement, adjust, assess what happened, you know, get the data, do whatever it is you gotta do that you learn, and then adjust to whatever it is that you learn, but you got to implement something. You got to be action oriented.
I think the biggest, and I know Z, you can relate to this, is being a father, man. Like applying that, like when you had your son, I had my son, I had no idea what the hell, I had no kid. I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I figured it out. And before my dad, when he had my oldest brother, he didn't know how to be a dad. So, those are things that we do normally in life, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for stuff like that. Like, those are business applicable skills, you know what I mean? Like, so, starting, your business without, having all the answers or all the resources, I think we have these grand ideas. We say, okay, this is our vision, and it's up here, man. But that's, like you said, man, that's 5, 6 years from now, man. So about what can you do? I've been trained through my soul coach. She's given me some techniques. It's like, all right, everybody has a 5-year plan, blase, blase. What can you do in 5 days? That's accomplishable. What can you do in 5 weeks? That's accomplishable. And what can you do in 5 months? Don't worry about that 5 years.
They talk about that's crazy because, like I said, I'm always reading believe the quote is people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 5. Like, you got to break it down into different things. Like, what can you do in 2 days? What can you do today? What can you do in 5 weeks? What can you do in a week? What can you do in 5 years? Like, but people only see that big picture and they get scared of it.
They get discouraged. That's anxiety. It's like, man, it's going to take forever to get there. Well, the person that got there did it by these steps.
By being intentional each day, like we talked about earlier.
I'm going to be intentional about these 5 days in front of me. I'm not going to worry about the weeks or the months. Let me execute 5 days. When I check that list, now 5 weeks. And just be, like you said, be intentional and be honest with yourself. That's the biggest thing. Bro. Be honest with yourself. You set your own goals, right? You set your own goals. If I say, okay, this is what I want to accomplish in 5 days, I know me. I'm not going to put something on that list that I cannot do in 5 days.
Exactly.
So you set your own goals. Failure's not an option at that point.
Exactly, and the biggest thing is it comes back to that mindset and how you process things, right? Why do you think the car salesman be like, hey, tell you the payments instead of just the final price? Yeah, you know, but they harp on the payment. It's only $320 something a month. Or why do you think when all the little kids in Africa get money, they get 17 cents a day and not $15 or whatever it comes to, or $8 a month? Because 8's a bigger number.
Right.
I can do 17 cents a day. I'm not about to send nobody $20 a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in your mind, I'm only sending them 83 cents a day or whatever it is. But it's like, it's all about marketing and sales, right? Like, and when I was doing my network marketing company, the auto ship every month was $150. Man, I don't got $150. Do you drink Starbucks or do you eat out? Yeah, I drink Starbucks, so I'll go to McDonald's. Well, literally, don't go to McDonald's and you'll save $7 a day. That'll give you actually $210 in a month. You actually save $60 by doing this. Or you do Starbucks, it's $5 a drink. You got your money if you start drinking Starbucks. Yeah. This brings you. It's all about the mindset of switching to like, oh, I can't do $150. But you can do $5, which is $150.
Yeah.
Then it's just, what can you do? You can do $5 a day, can't you? That's why the mindset is so much, and knowing how to manipulate your own mindset to being more positive, more forward thinking, more creative of whatever you're doing. Like, when I mean creative, I don't mean Steve Jobs and all. I'm talking about creative of how to get yourself out of a hole. You can't just keep running, okay, instead of trying to dig under this wall at 20 feet, okay, let me get those boxes and jump over it. Or, dang, all I had to do was step back from the wall and see it was only 10 feet over. I just walked around. But when I just sit there with my face on the wall, just banging it against the wall, it feels like it's the Great Wall of China. You took 10 steps back and you seen the wall was from here to here. You just walked around.
And that's actually huge, because people do view that big vision and they get discouraged because they don't see how they're going to get there. And that you got to create those small bite-sized, those small bite-sized opportunities that really keep you motivated and energized to win every day. Like,
you start seeing those wins, it's like, oh shit,
snowball.
What I accomplished in 5 days, now I can see the week.
I can
see
shit,
that. When I accomplished in a week, what was a month,
right.
3 months ago is right there. It's like, it's obtainable.
It's obtainable now.
Exactly.
And those wins, they just energize you in a way that's gonna keep you pushing. You know, it's funny because I wrote here, I'm like, I go into business with the mindset to be successful on the macro, but I expect to fail on the micro. Like, I expect to fail today and tomorrow. I absolutely expect to fail in the first week, first month, first year. But I know that I'm okay with that, because I'm going to adjust, because like you said earlier, I just know what my macro goal is, and I'm gonna learn and progress along the way. But a lot of people, I think, they jump into their business trying to be at the finish line already, and that's just not possible.
We bought trucks a little over a month ago. They're running them, and I know the macro rate is, I want 3, 4, 5 trucks running.
Right.
The micro is, my shit been sitting for a week. I'm about to run them under the circle, run the block,
It feels something.
You know, I really ain't been want to drive, because go take loads, because I need to learn how to drive myself. But that's like, I'm not even worried about it. Like, Z's like, hey, send me loads. I'm like, we'll do that next week, bro. When we get a plan together, I'm not worried about like today, because this is, if a week within the first month got me off my game, I sure ain't about to have 5 trucks in, rolling down. That's the goal. I'm not worried about something. But it's, you gotta, like I said, that micro versus that macro. But before we have to get on out, we'll talk about just some of our future endeavors and what we want to get into, and what we're already into, plus what we want to get into. You can shout out your website, shout out your podcast, your Instagram names and all that. So we'll start that way, and then I'll just end over here.
Man, what's next for Cory? Man, definitely continue to push the podcast, man. Talk to me nice. We release new episodes every Wednesday of every week. I want to continue growing that. Got some great guests, man. Appreciate you. You was actually the first guest, first official interview on Talk to Me Nice. So much love to you for that, DP. Man, but continue to grow that platform. I just hope that we're putting out, great content. Trying to bring in subject matter experts. Started out, just 4 people, 4 perspectives, but now I'm trying to integrate into the community. So bringing in subject matter experts, bringing in small business owners, entrepreneurs, and just establishing a platform for the voiceless. I say, I'm a voice for the voiceless. I say I'm a voice for your thoughts. So a lot of things that we walk around thinking that we won't speak, my platform is to get that out loud, man. So any entrepreneurs that are out there, any creatives, please give me a shout. Again, Talk to Me Nice podcast. You can reach me on Instagram at CP_the real, one word. Facebook, same thing. We're streaming on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube as well. So those are my future business endeavors. Outside of that, personally, just continuing to build a legacy for my son. I've dabbled in real estate recently, so I've acquired some land. I've got a few properties here and there. So again, just wanting to leave my son the tools, the information, and hopefully, the lessons and things that I've taught him under this roof will manifest into whatever he decides to build with those tools.
It's huge. It's huge. So my Instagram is at Zavious Robbins. It's just my name, all one word. I'm a subject matter expert on marketing. That's what I've done for the last 10 years, and that's going to be the thing that I lean on heavily. That's the thing that I'm passionate about. Being data driven, so I'm very data savvy. I got my Google Analytics certification, so I know how to pull data. I know how to pixel sites, and that's just my lane. That's what I've done for corporate partners like McDonald's and Midas and Planet Fitness, just major brands. Marketing is my lane and will forever be my lane. That's what I love, and so that's going to be what I do. I took over my dad's business, Pick Association, and really adjusted it from being a small business consulting firm to more of a marketing agency. And so that's going to be the plan, that we continue to grow Pick Association. It's funny because, man, the first thing I did in Pick Association was this sponsorship acquisition.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing I ran ads on. And I'm a marketing guy, so I'm like, shit, I better be able to generate these leads and knock them down. And man, we started off 8-to-1, invested $600 a month on those ads, and it's been 8-to-1 since. And so, for us, we're going to continue to push ourselves to offer that. We're going to offer other digital products. We want to open it up. And my big vision for Pick Association is that we continue to earn corporate opportunities, but I don't necessarily have a passion for corporate. I have a passion for small businesses, but the corporate partners allow the efficiencies, the ability to buy 100 at one time so that I can give that cost, that cost savings to the entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
And so it's like, let me get these corporate partners to pay in bulk so that I can give that discounted rate to the entrepreneur who doesn't have access to it. And so my vision is going to be to continue to build that over the next, however long I got, and pass that down to my son to do whatever he wants with it. And then obviously we started trucking together, hoping to get to 4 trucks, but you told me you want 5, so I got to get 6. But nah, man, just building that, and that was just more of an income generator for us, and hoping that we just expand our portfolio and generate different forms of income. So anybody who needs marketing, I'm really the fitness marketing specialist is kind of where I sit. So it's fitness plus marketing with love, and that's going to continue to be our platform. So I appreciate you putting us on this one.
Yeah, man, and like I said, y'all already know all the things I talk about on all the episodes, from the trainings, to the facilities, to the meal preps, trucking, everything else. But man, I appreciate y'all boys for coming on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And this is episode 12 of TRPT COD. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We out.
Love y'all. Boy, that's a beast.
Yes, sir.
There's some fire in there.
That shit, man.
And look at that.
Yeah, that was fluid.
At 12. Right now, at 12.
We gotta do that shit.
That was fluid. That was, damn.
And there's so much different shit we can talk about.
Bro, so
There's so much we did
like,
talk about.
yeah, so much we
crazy.
did talk about, bro. Like, it's, man.
Hey, you got your set up your camera on the timer, Judah. I'm about to say, since we all got our stuff on right now, just take and I'm gonna use that as the picture for the episode 12 that I'm gonna post after we get out of here. I've been on that in-shot crazy though. You see I've been using all that in-shot and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I seen no girl. She was talking to you. I don't know where she was. She looked like she was in the car.
She was in the car. She was just had got her new house. She was getting a new house out in Atlanta. And she was out in the crib, and like I said, just with that one, I didn't care if she was shoot on the shitter. But it was like somebody with 800,000 followers as a name and just get those bigger things.
I seen that on Instagram though. Did you post the whole?
Those are just clips.
Okay. Alright. I was like,
We in like 4 deep right now. I'm thinking, so we got this one, the one with Bobby, the one with her, and then the one with my dad and Mr. Jordan. So I got 4 in the chamber. This is the most I've ever had. Usually we do. Yeah, I think we've had 2 before. But I'm glad because now I can sit back and then start trying to get back in the DMs of some bigger people. And as if we're trying to build it, I ain't got to worry about,
Excuse me. Should be able to do it from the palm thing.
There we go.
Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2. A couple more. Screw it. You read from here.
that's great. Cool magician.
One more.
Hold on, we gotta get the, whatchamacallit, we gotta get the most
I
time.
done put mine in the sink.
Put some juice in there.
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
Enough to say we had something in there.
Stunt juice.
It's a little stunt juice, just enough to say we had it. Enough to say we had it. I'm
Where y'all's at, Drew?
See, I do mine in the sink too.
Right.
and drop that little drip in there.
I got them off.
Of course you do.
You ready?
In your worship, I'm mad because we only had a little more time, but I ain't even get to get in. Did you say you have a soul advisor?
Soul advisor. Damn.
And then I'm about to say, and it sounds about good to Judah didn't probably need him. He said you have a soul coach.
So that's why
How your soul feeling?
Yeah, Judah Miller.
nah, she is dope. Let's see. Boom. 5, 4, 3, 2. Try to snap up a time. Hey.
Yes, sir.
One of us got it, you know.
So yeah, just shoot those 2. I drop them in the good ones. I drop them in the group and all that. But I'm gonna use one of them for the announcement.
Appreciate you opening up your home, Cory.
Y'all always welcome, man. Always.
Yes, sir.
I kept feeling my phone rock. I'm like, what y'all
Always.
see what that little Floyd doing?
I threw mine straight on airplane.
Boy, Floyd, he rolling. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I do it.
I hit him with a re-up. Grab my number. In case y'all say some shit, I need to write down. He ain't gonna lie.
Bro, like I said, this is one of the coolest things. I don't even really care about how I really monetize this in the long run. Like, I really enjoy the knowledge I get from talking to other people, bro. You get so much from sitting down, like, and having,
Top
like,
off.
I ain't mad at that.
like a real conversation with people.
Just don't have us some double vision.
Like, Judah, what the hell was you recording?
One of them mostly kicked in and
What had a panic, man. Shit audio. You mad?
Well, Cory, this one has to go on your platform. I ain't got Apple and Spotify. We only got audio. We do shooting the thing. So we gotta change this to a talk to me nice 5.
what you want with light? You want to keep the light on? Keep the light on?
Let's see. Yeah, all the light, the more light, the better. The more the light, the better.
No, I'm out.
Oh, okay. I'm about to put my shit down.
You want yours, Cory?
Yeah, please.
Yes, Lord.
Bro, real.
Hey. Y'all
This is a production.